What's going on, YouTube? I'm posting a video on how to check your transmission fluid temperature and dipstick level reading on a 2006 Chrysler 300C. My vehicle has a 5.7 HEMI with a NAG1 transmission. That's NAG1 transmission. I'm sure you're aware these transmissions do not come with a dipstick. Once you're under the hood, it does have a dipstick tube, but only has a cap that says for dealership use only. So hopefully this video will help you check your dipstick reading and temperature so that you can save some money by not going to the dealership. So I'm getting ready to do a fluid filter and transmission fluid flush on my transmission. And online I kept running into a wall. I kept getting instructions on going to the dealership to get a scan tool hooked up to get the transmission fluid temp, which is required to read the dipstick correctly. I feel it's a complete ripoff. It's the dealership's way of making quick cash. So let's go ahead and continue. Also keep in mind that these transmissions are imports from Mercedes. When Chrysler had the whole fallout, they sent a lot of their business overseas, and Mercedes took over the transmissions for the 5.7 HEMIs, which are installed in the Chryslers, the Dodge, most of the Jeeps. So you can use this video for other types of Mopar trannies, but I'm specifically making this one for a 2006 Chrysler 300C. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue. So, to avoid going to the dealership, I went online and I purchased a scan tool for $7. The best fucking $7 I ever spent. Here's the product title so that you can go on to eBay and type this in and get yourself one. It's an OBDII scanner, Bluetooth, ELM327. So let me go ahead and take this out of the packaging, and bear with me guys, I'm using one hand, and you know how that goes on eBay or on YouTube. So here's the device. We got OBDII logo, Bluetooth symbol, and these dots here light up. There's letting you know when you have it connected. They light up showing that power is good to go. Here's the connector, and on the back you got an OBDII symbol. Most of the OBD ports on your car are located under the steering column by the brake pedal. So I'm going to go ahead and get this connected. Bear with me, I'm going to finger this in. That's what she said. Alright, come on, there we go. Alright, got her in. So let me grab this other cell phone. Alright, cool. So, we got the scan tool plugged in. The scan tool does come with the free CD, and you do not need to use that. You're going to go to the Google Play Store and download this app called Torque Pro. The scan tool does come with the free version, but you don't want to use that. You want to use the Torque Pro, which is $5, and that's also going to be the best $5 you ever spent. So right there, Torque. The scan tool connects to your phone via Bluetooth like any other wireless Bluetooth device. So let's go ahead and get that connected to your phone. So we'll go to Settings. Go to Bluetooth, turn it on, and now it's searching for a device, and there it is, OBDII. Go ahead and tap that. And then this screen will pop up. The default PIN number or password is 1234. So let's type that in, 1234. Alright. Now hit OK. And now it's showing that it's a paired device. So we're good to go. We're connected via Bluetooth. So go ahead and hit the back button. And let's recap real quick. So now we got the scan tool down there plugged in. We got the Torque Pro app installed. And then we got the device connected via Bluetooth. So now what you want to do is turn your key. You don't have to start the car, but just turn it to the on position. Right there. Now we'll come back here and we'll open the app. First thing that's going to pop up is your GPS needs to be on. Some features required on this app, and you'll notice these are flashing up here, so go ahead and hit yes. Alright, and then it'll take you to your phone's GPS on-off switch. Go ahead and turn that on. There you go. Location GPS is on. Go ahead and hit back. And now we're back to this home screen. Now you'll notice the icons are not flashing, which is good. This first blue one is letting you know that the GPS is connected. This is your cell phone. This is the scan tool plugged in. And then this is this car symbol is letting you know it's connected to the car's ECU. So those are all solid, which is what you want. And we'll now continue. Alright, so I'll give you a quick tutorial. We'll go up here to adapter status. And here you'll see that it's showing that the Bluetooth is enabled, yes, connection, yes, ECU to the ECU, yes. And all these are pre-programmed, so you don't really need to do nothing. Make sure when you buy the scan tool, it's online, it's showing that it has version 2.1. That's the most accurate software, up-to-date software. So we'll continue to scroll down. You'll notice it already ID'd my vehicle, my VIN number. And here's where it already has sensors pre-installed. You'll notice coolant temp, intake pressure, timing advance, throttle position. Let me scroll down. These are already pre-installed. And there we go. It's the bottom of the list. So you'll notice it does not have the transmission fluid temperature sensor installed, which is fine. I'm going to show you how to install that. And I mean, you're going to see how you can add so many additional sensors to this $7 freaking scan tool, which makes it rad. So I'll go ahead and hit tap back, and we're back to this home page. So, and sorry about the glare, guys. There we go. That's better. So now, let me scroll back up here. Let's click, and you'll notice there's a faults code. There's a test results. Fault codes basically runs and checks to see if there's any fault codes that pop up, like the P04030 numbers. That way you can research what those equal and go buy the part and replace it. The test results one is also a badass feature. It runs through all the sensors, and it tells you, it'll give you a list right here, and it'll show what's in red that you need to go replace. And also, real quick, this profile thing that's flashing red, this you can set up a profile. Basically, it'll ask like the weight of the car, things of that nature, so that you can get like accurate gas mileage. There's no need to really set that up. Only if you want to, you can go ahead and do that later on. So now let's go ahead and go to real-time information. Alright, so you'll notice some pre-installed gadgets here. This first one right here is accelerator, which has the G logo. This actually gives you the G-force rating when you're like racing or trying to get the G-force pull on your car. You got the RPMs, throttle body positioning, speedometer, boost or vacuum lines, and then engine coolant temp, your antifreeze. Alright, so let's go ahead and scroll right. And you'll notice on this screen there's a 0 to 60 feature, quarter mile, eighth mile, horsepower at the wheels. And these features you can use with the scan tool plugged in and the car on while you're driving, and you'll be able to use these features I'll scroll right. Here's a emissions DTC code reader. This refreshes like every 10 to 15 seconds, as you can see. There you go, they're all green, good to go. So I'll scroll back over here. And on this page, you'll notice it has a bigger size gadget, just letting you know that you can install different size gadgets. And then these are just some blank pages. So as you can see, there's no transmission fluid temperature gadget. So let me go ahead and show you how to get one installed. Hit back, and now we're at the torque homepage again. So on this page, what you want to do is tap the settings icon right there. Tap that, and now this will pop up. Go ahead and hit settings. Alright, now you're at this torque settings page. What you want to do is scroll down until you get to manage extra PIDs. Tap that. Alright, so now you come to this screen where it says manage custom OBDII. This is blank right now. I went ahead and deleted what was on here because sometimes it automatically will pop up what you need, but for the purpose of this video, I deleted them just in case it does come up blank like this, so that you'll know how to install what it is you need. So if it's blank like this, go ahead and tap the three dots right here. Now select Add Predefined Set. Now it's going to ask you, select your vehicle. Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Mercedes, blah 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 blah. And you'll notice how they paired Mercedes up with the Mopar vehicles because of what I talked about earlier, how Dodge or Chrysler sent business overseas, and Mercedes started installing the NAG1 transmission into their vehicles. So that's why you'll notice Mercedes linked up with the Mopar cars. So go ahead and tap that. There you go. So now here's the three items that come up on the list. And again, sometimes this will automatically pop up and sometimes it won't. So if it doesn't, I just showed you how to get these three on the list. So the first one is Chrysler transmission temp, Chrysler / Dodge, equation A-40. Next one is Chrysler transmission temp, Jeep 2012 and later, equation L50. The last one is Chrysler trans temp, Jeep pre-2012, equation A*256. So originally, I thought I'm going to use this Chrysler one because my cars are Chrysler, but scan tools are programmed to use equation L-50 for the NAG1 transmission. Even though it says Jeep 2012 and later, you'll still notice it says Chrysler on top, trans temp. So the NAG1 transmission is programmed to use equation L-50 on scan tools. So I'm going to need this one to use for my NAG1 transmission. So with that being said, go ahead and we're gonna delete this top and bottom one. And keep in mind, you can pick and choose from these based on the type of transmission you have. So later on you can come back and pick and choose which one you need and see if it works when you install the gadget. So just keep that in mind, that you can use these for different type of Mopar trannies. So since I need L-50 right here, Jeep 2012 and later, for the NAG1 transmission, I'm going to go ahead and tap this top one and hit delete since I don't need that. Do the same with the bottom. Tap, delete. So now we only got Chrysler trans temp, Jeep 2012 and later, equation L-50. Only one on the list. Now hit back. Hit back again. And now we're on the torque homepage. So let's go ahead and go back to real-time information. Alright, we're back to this page. So let's scroll right until we get to a blank page like this. So go ahead and tap the center until Add Display pops up. Go ahead and tap that. Alright, so now it's asking you what type of display do you want. On the previous page with the small displays, the gadgets, those were dial needle ones. It's got the needle and it has a digital dial in the center. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to select digital display. And keep in mind, you can pick whichever you want. There you go, digital display. Alright, so now we're here where you can add sensors that I talked about earlier to this $7 scan tool, which makes it fucking awesome. So I'm going to scroll down here, and keep in mind these are in alphabetical order, and you'll notice right here ones that you do add manually pop up right on top of the list, and here it is, the one that we didn't delete: Chrysler transmission temp, Jeep 2012 and later. So that's the transmission temperature gadget we're going to need. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to scroll down and just show you all these additional sensors you can install with this $7 scan tool. And let me go down to T for transmission, because there is two right here that are installed, but they don't apply to the NAG1. So like I mentioned before, you can go on that list, delete and save whichever ones that you can later come back and see if they do work with your type of transmission. But these two that are pre-installed do not work with the NAG1. So let me go back to the top. I mean, these are just awesome sensors to use. Alright, so here we go. The one I didn't delete earlier, Chrysler Trans Temp, Jeep 2012 and later. Go ahead and tap that. Alright, so now it's asking you what size of display you want. Purpose of this video, I'm going to go with medium. Boom, there you go. So now it's asking you where you want it on the screen. I'm just going to keep it in the center. Alright, so now we got transmission fluid temp gadget installed. And I'll scroll back right. So here's where you might get confused. You'll notice that your engine coolant antifreeze gadget right here is showing 104, which is the same as your transmission fluid temp. So why are we getting the same reading for both the transmission fluid temp and engine fluid temp? Because that's not right. And just to confirm how accurate the scan tool is, my antifreeze right now, engine coolant temp is 104, and here's my onboard computer on the car showing 104 right there. So the scan tool is very accurate. But let's go back to why we're getting the same reading for the coolant and transmission fluid temp. Well, let me put the cell phone down. I went to Chrysler and I got this automatic transmission NAG1 service information. Basically, these are instructions that the technicians use at the dealership on how to do a transmission level check, basically checking your fluid level. And I'm going to go ahead and read this. It's number 1 says, verify that the vehicle is parked on a level surface. Number 2, remove the dipstick tube cap, which is located by the firewall on the passenger side engine head. And I'm sure you know where that is because you've probably looked for the transmission dipstick. So it's telling you to take that cap off and then come back into the car, apply your e-brake, start engine, and let it run at idle in this park position. So basically you're going to keep your car in park, turn it on, and then let it idle. And then number 4, it's saying to shift through the transmission mode several times with the vehicle stationary and engine idling. So what that's telling you to do is go through your gears. Once you started the car, you're going to go from park, reverse, neutral, drive, drive, neutral, reverse, park. Do that a couple times. And to be more technical, I actually would go through the plus and minus gears. You know, I'll go 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, then back up, back down. Do that several times. Alright, so now number 5 is saying warm up the transmission. Wait at least 2 minutes and check the oil level with the engine running. So while you're going up and down through your gears right here, you are warming up the transmission. And then it says, push the oil dipstick into the transmission fill tube until the dipstick tip contacts the oil pan, and then pull it out and then read off the level. So we're here where we're trying to get the dipstick level, but there's no dipstick. Here's where you go to AutoZone and you buy a dipstick for 20 bucks. And bear with me, guys, using one hand. Here is the product info. It's Doorman 917327 is the part number. Again, AutoZone, 20 bucks. There's the tip of the handle. And let me go ahead and pull this out. Alright, here's the other end of the dipstick. Here's where you're going to put this into the dipstick tube, and it's got these measurements. You'll notice it starts off at 20, and then it goes 30, 40, 50, 60, etc., all the way up to 120. So this thing goes down into the dipstick tube and then stops. You literally feel it go so far, it taps and then just stops. It won't go any farther. And keep in mind, the handle part of it, with the red handle right here, this is going to hang out. This does not sit flush on the dipstick tube. It doesn't go all the way down. The cable's extra long, so it hangs out probably a foot and a half. So don't worry about that. That's normal. It basically is going to hang out a foot and a half. So let's recap. You've basically got the car on. You've took the dipstick tube cap off. You've went through all your gears in idle, and then you bring it back up to park, and then you put the dipstick into the dipstick tube until it contacts the oil pan, and then you pull it out and read the level. So once you get that measurement, number 6 says check the transmission oil temp using the appropriate scan tool. So that's where we come back and we need to know the trans temp. So again, we're back here where it's giving us the same reading. So why is it doing that? On these instructions, it's telling you the true transmission oil temp can only be read by a scan tool in reverse or any forward gear position. There you go. So let's see if this $7 scan tool is going to do what this $10,000 Snap-on scan tools do at the dealership. So let's come back here. We got engine coolant temp shows 102. The transmission fluid temp is showing the same. So let me see. Car is off. I got on the on position. It's in park. I'm going to focus in on this. So I'm going to go ahead and put my car in reverse to see if the instructions are correct. Look at that. The transmission fluid temp gauge just adjusted to 91.4 and the vehicle is in reverse. Let me go down to neutral. Give it a second. There you go. It just went back to what the engine coolant temp is, because you're not in a reverse or forward driving gear. Let me come back here. Let me go to drive. And look at that. It just changed. 91.4. So there you go. There's your true transmission fluid temp. So I'm going to just go back up to park. There's neutral. Give it a second. There you go. That's the engine temp. Reverse. There you go. Transmission temp. And then park. Should go back. Give it a second. And there you go. So that's the engine temp. Reverse. Transmission temp. Alright, so now the $7 scan tool is working just like how the dealership says it should. So we'll come back here to the instructions, and it's saying the transmission oil dipstick has indicator marks every 10 millimeters, like I showed you earlier. determine the height of the oil level on the dipstick, and using the height, the transmission temperature, and the transmission fluid graph, which is right here, to determine if the transmission oil level is correct. Add or remove oil as necessary and recheck the oil level. Once the oil level is correct, install the dipstick tube cap. So there we go. So, with all this being said, once you get your transmission temperature, which is right there, on this gauge, you're going to see what the oil level is showing on the dipstick. So, for example, if the transmission fluid temp is showing 120, the dipstick should be showing 50. To confirm, 120 temperature equals 50 on the dipstick. So, if it's under 50, obviously you need to add fluid through the dipstick tube. If it's over 50, you need to take some out using like a siphon pump or some type of tubing. Just put it down the dipstick tube and take out the fluid until you get the accurate level. So there you go, guys, and keep in mind this chart and instructions, they do come with the dipstick itself that you buy at AutoZone for 20 bucks. It's folded and it's inside the packaging. So you'll get this chart, you'll get the graph with all the numbers, and hopefully this will help you guys out, help you save the money, avoid going to the dealership to get ripped off. And I will post torque specs on removing the oil pan for your transmission, because again, like I mentioned, I'm going to be doing a transmission flush and oil filter change. So I'll post the torque specs on the bolts when you remove it. That way you guys will have it, and then basically just go from there. So there you go, guys. $7 scan tool plus $5 app. Saved you some money, saved you from leaving your car over at the dealership overnight. And keep in mind, this scan tool is worth it because you get to use all these other features. You get to add all the additional apps or sensors. And hope this video helped out. Leave any comments or questions. I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. And yeah, talk to you guys later. Peace.